All right. Thank you, Marielle. Thank you for inviting me to do this tonight. I'm honored. And hello, everybody, and some close friends of mine uh, tuning in tonight. And I gave this on last Saturday. Roshani in Mumbai has a Saturday morning satsang, and I was the guest last Saturday. So this is kind of my week here. But if any of you attended that, just letting you know ahead of time, I'm doing the same presentation. So you're welcome to stay again, or if you don't want to repeat it, I understand. Um, so yeah, Mary Allen just asked me to talk about my own personal development as an artist, a painter, and I have a slideshow prepared of showing most of my paintings, other Lyn Ott paintings, and trying to weave them into a central theme of painting the divine and what that means to me personally. I got started painting by accident. It was my sophomore year in college, and I had registered for what I thought was an art appreciation course. And I walked into the classroom, and there's all these easels, and students are standing behind their easels. And I went, whoops, I think I made a mistake. And the art teacher, talked me into staying. So there you go. And I've been painting ever since. So I painted through college some. Well, I have a memory of one of our. This was encouraging. In that class, we had an assignment to do a plein air painting. I went out to Fairmont Park, and I'm doing a painting. First time I'm just brand new to painting, and what's coming out is kind of an impressionistic style of painting. It's just natural. And I remember this art class was going by, and I think they were from Moore College of Art, one of the main art colleges in Philadelphia. And they had the same assignment. There was about 8 students. And I have a bit of memories as they walk by me. I'm like, oh no, don't look at my painting. Go, keep walking by. You know, that's an art class, and I don't know what I'm doing. But they were really complimentary. They were a couple of them go, wow, I wish I could paint like that. And I said, oh, really? So that was a boost. I have a real positive memory of that. And the other thing, going to college in Philadelphia, I used to spend a lot of time in Philadelphia and Philadelphia Art Museum. Spent a lot of time in there looking at paintings, and the Rodin Museum is within a stone's throw of other Philadelphia Art Museums. So that had a big influence on me, this introduction to the history of Western art. But the other thing that right near where I went to college, at St. Joe's University, which is on the edge of the city, there was a private collection called the Barnes Foundation. And Mr. Barnes was a collector, and he bought up many of the post-impressionist paintings, like canvases that were right hot off the easel. You know, he was buying Monets, and I think he had a few Van Goghs. He has the largest collection of Rodins in the world, etc. And you had to get permission to go. You had to call and ask to go and see it. It was walking distance from where I went to college. And so I went there 2 or 3 times, and that had a really profound kind of artistic awakening. Just seeing these Monets and Van Goghs and Rodins up close. So just going to college in Philadelphia, an art city, maybe not as great as New York, but still really an exceptional city for art. And then, I went many years without painting. And it really wasn't until, it was a little bit in the background. I was too busy working. And it wasn't until 2000 when I was living in England. I came back in 97 from England after being there about 8 or 9 years. And I just, something awoke in me, some desire to start painting again. And it was right around the time when Lyn Ott died. Lyn Ott died in 97. And Lyn and I were friends. And, I've been going to the center since 1970. And we would talk about art. And, I just had a great admiration for him. And so, but when I started painting again in 97, shortly after he died, I felt like I was in a different place. I had improved, and I don't know how I got there because it didn't come from painting. And then looking back, I feel like I got an artistic push from Lyn after he died. And I've talked to one or two other artists who are friends with Lyn, and they feel the same thing. So I don't know if that's true, but I feel that way, that everyone all the artists connected to Lyn got a push right after he died. So so really it's been since '97 that I've been painting pretty regularly. And I retired in 2010, so much more on a daily basis since 2010. Another turning point for me was in the early 2000s. I had a second spiritual awakening, and I won't go into detail about that, but it was just like as powerful in a way as when I first came to Baba in 1969. And I feel like my artistic expression just flowered in terms of potential. I started writing plays. Where that came from, I have no idea, because I'd only written one skit in '85 up to that time, and I'd only been in one play. Suddenly all these plays started pouring out of me, Baba plays, and interest in directing and acting, et cetera, et cetera. And I've been doing that since then. So, and also my painting got better, I think, from around that time. So that was that time period, 2002, 3, 4, was a kind of so the spiritual reawakening or second spiritual birth coincided with also a burst of creativity for me. So yeah, and also teaching art appreciation in the last few years has really deepened my understanding of art and artists, and particularly in the Western tradition. I was teaching it at adult education, Ollie, through Coastal Carolina University. I did that for about 3 years, and now I'm teaching online through Circle Center, Zoom, and just that's been a big help. Just taking the time to really look at and study the lives and artistic expression, all of the great artists that in the Western tradition. And one of the things that I've identified, and not just me, but one of the central themes in Western art, and that's the topic of my little presentation here, is painting the divine. But that was one of the original reasons for painting, was to uplift people spiritually by painting Jesus or Christ or Mary. But that goes even before Christianity, that art always had a sacred purpose. It was to remind us of our that the divine is in the world, or that we have a spirit that needs to be can be touched through art and uplifted as a result. So that theme of and so that relates directly to painting Meherabad, because I think painting Meherabad can be put in that tradition of painting the divine. Either you're painting the avatars, the Christ, or now painting Meherabad, how to do that. So let me start this slideshow, which will so here's an early kind of Byzantine that painting that, you know, Jesus is in heaven, and
Oh, you got to share screen first.
oh, I forgot to share screen. Sorry. Let's do that. There, sound. There. Thank you for reminding me. All right, let's start again.
So, Joe,
Yeah.
before we start looking at the slides, let me mention to everyone that you are welcome to ask any questions during Joe's presentation, and particularly viewing the slides. But if you would put it into chat as opposed to, or raise your hand virtually, that would be great. That way we can address when there's kind of a natural break or a flow, rather than just jumping in.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Preview. All right, so everybody can see this now? Yes? Okay, good. So early representation of Jesus in heaven, surrounded by an aura. This is a Raphael painting. So, from there to here during the Renaissance, the theme of the divine was more humanistic with more fleshed out people, human looking. This is one of the main themes of the Renaissance, that the Christ and his mother was a central theme, that he's the savior, etc. But you see the difference from this detached Christ to being very human in the body. So it goes back. Sorry, it goes backwards one when I pause it. So I'll try not to pause too often. I don't know why it does that. Next one is Rembrandt, and Rembrandt really was he was painting the soul, probably more than any other Western artist. The divine is in the human being, even in the self-portraits. The light is coming from within of our spirit. He did that he was able to do that more than anybody. This is a let me go back to that painting. I can't think of the artist's name. It slips my mind. Sorry. But this theme of the Christ on the cross was so many thousands of paintings. Right? Jesus' suffering, the avatar's suffering, was a central theme through Western Christian art, along with the saints and either Jesus as an infant with his mother, or Jesus on the cross being crucified. Rubens, and jumping way ahead, just skipping all over into the modern era, Van Gogh. So Van Gogh started, what he's saying there, if you look at it, the way he painted, is that divine is in nature. And all the swirls of the way Van Gogh applied the paint, it's like he's seeing into the world of energy. There's this divine current that moves through nature, and it's more there than what we ordinarily see. I think it's what he's, for me, that's what Van Gogh is saying. There's a swirl and a life force here that's that the divine is not just in humans, or not just in Jesus. It's also in the world. He's in the world. The Spirit of God is in the world. And then Van Gogh, Monet. So I'm sure you've seen Monet's last paintings, the water lily paintings. I don't know if you've had the good fortune to stand in front of them, because when you stand in front of them, they're in Paris at the André and Musée Marmottan has the best collections. It's almost like he was beginning to see through the veil between the gross and the subtle. He had, at the end of his life, he had vision problems, he had cataracts, but what happens when I stand in front of those paintings, they vibrate, and I can almost sense that it's like he was painting prana energy in a way that Van Gogh did, but he even took it to the next step. He was no longer an impressionist. When you look at his Monet's early paintings in the 80s and 90s, and what he was doing at the end of his life, it was like, he just had a spiritual breakthrough, I think. And then Van Gogh, backwards. Here's a painter, modern painter, New York School of Expressionists, is Mark Rothko. And you might not think, well, what's that? It's just colors. But again, you have to stand in front of it, because the way he painted was to put very thin washes of oil paint. Wash over wash over wash. And he reduced the colors. So if an abstract or painting has a lot of colors, it keeps you on the surface. But he often would have 2 or 3 colors, and it has the effect of pulling you in. And the fact that he would build these washes up, these paintings have incredible depth to them. And they're meditative, contemplative paintings. Most people aren't willing to stand in front of them. They just keep walking by. They stand there, take their selfie for 20 seconds and walk on. But if you're really, again, you have a photograph doesn't capture the aliveness of this painting, of Rothko's painting. And supposedly people have these break down crying and sobbing, standing in front of Rothko's painting, standing in front of a painting like this. He's touching their soul, I think. And he himself denied that he had any spiritual intention in his paintings. He said he was painting human emotions. But I think there's a spiritual dimension that just came out through him anyway. And the fact that people would just break down sobbing. He was touching something that they maybe felt hadn't been touched in their life in a long time. But I guess he's doing that through reducing the colors and building up these multiple layer thin washes. So that gives it a great depth and vibrance, alive. Like Van Gogh did it differently. He really layered the paint on thick, but he's doing it in a much more subtle way. So it's like what Rothko was doing was like, if you look at a progression, the whole progression, even from Van Gogh to Monet to Rothko, you can see a progression of leaving the physical world behind, expressing the divine, and doing it in a way that just through pure color. Okay, which leads into Lyn Ott. And I'm gonna go backwards. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna open up a Word document. I don't know if you're familiar with Lyn's book, In Quest of the Face of God. It's out of print. The library has copies, and it's about his artistic development. There's 17 Baba paintings, but also he covers some of the main artists in Western tradition, and he's discussing the same thing, how the divine has been painted in the West. So here's some quotes from that book. When God said, "Let there be light," he meant, let the universe be a foundation of color from the beginningless beginning to the endless end. And from the first stirring trailed colorful, spiraling worlds of form. So that, let there be light. Light is the original emanation from the divine and from that color. So there's a divine energy that's associated with color. It's light. Color, and Lyn says, color is the one element in painting that is simultaneously most human and most divine. It is color that makes the music of the spheres. And what gives a painting real lasting value? The expression of the heart is what has lasting importance. Right? So color has always been my thing with painting. I'm much more interested in color than, say, drawing per se. So here's some of the influences that Lyn has had on me. First of all, what I just said, the spiritual significance of color. And then in the 1950s, Lyn came to maturity as an artist in New York City as an abstract expressionist. That was the big movement. The center of the art world had moved from Paris right up where it was for quite a while up until World War II. Then after World War II, it shifted to New York City. It was abstract expressionism. And Mark Rothko was an abstract expressionist. But Lyn grew up in that, came to maturity. He went to art school in New York. And it's real, expressionism is about the subjective emotional expression, usually non-representational, and a non-traditional application of paint, more spontaneous and free. Jackson Pollock, whatever, it's not building up building up a sense of form through layers that the master did. It's much more freestyle. Rothko was an exception in the sense that he was doing abstract, he was building up his abstract with layers. So expressionism versus realism in art. Objective realism in painting, it resides in the world of duality. There's a subject-object relationship. That's not bad, but that was the main tradition in Western art. The artists were, most of the artists accepted that duality. Art painting celebrates objective reality of the physical. And there would be, say, this portrait would be an example of that, and countless others, where you have a figure in the foreground, and the figure is the main subject, and that person is in a real room somewhere, and there's a background, there's a foreground background. Okay. But expressionism in painting is more about intuition, unity, subjectivity, the inner realms, the web of life, the wholeness, emotional realities. And I think you see that in Lyn's painting. What Lyn has done and what I've tried to do at times is eliminating, as a result of this breaking free of duality. And Baba's main teaching is oneness, and that the experience of oneness will be what will be the main experience of the new humanity. How does that get expressed in painting? So one way is eliminating the traditional foreground and background. So the idea is the whole painting is Baba. He is in everything, not just in physical form. Okay, it's not just Baba in the form surrounded, he's in a room. Those paintings, I'm not saying those paintings are not good, they're beautiful. But if you take it to the next level of oneness and intuition, then everything is Baba in the painting. It's like the colors coalesce into his form, and then there is no distinction necessarily between the form of Baba, the background, and the foreground. This will get clearer when I show the slide to you. And this has always intrigued me. In the 1960s, Baba often reminded us that I am not this body. So I would think from this statement, an artistic question has intrigued me. How can an artist, or how can I paint or capture Baba's form and his formlessness at the same time? Because that's what he said, I'm not this body. Well, how can you paint that? Is that even paintable? His formlessness. So one direction again is to have Baba simultaneously emerging from a color field and coming out of it, and also dissolving into it at the same way. So Baba portrayed through the use of color as being embodied in the physical realm and also beyond it, right? And I think Lyn was doing that in many of his paintings, and that has had an influence me. So I just wanted to give that. Again, any questions you have about that, feel free to ask them. I got to start the slideshow again as soon as you pop out of it. Okay, and I'll forward it to where we left off. All right, so let me go back to that one. But see what he's done? Baba is coming out. It's all one. The background, foreground distinction is dissolved. Sorry, it's dissolved. And Baba's coming out, and the colors and behind him are the same as colors in his sadra, in his skin. He's in this space. He's in an inner space. He's not in three-dimensional space as we know it. So you can see the influence of abstract expressionism in Lyn's style, but he's also conveying something that's central teaching of Baba, that there's just oneness, and Baba is in everything and everyone, not just in his physical form. And so he's as much in the whole painting as he is in his form. The other thing about Lyn Ott paintings that, like I was saying with, if you stand in front of a Monet or a Van Gogh or a Rothko, that they're alive, they're vibrating with energy. So the painting itself, it's not just painting it's not just painting a saint or just painting Jesus on the cross, but that the color is vibrating with life. And maybe I think the fact that Lyn actually met Baba, and Baba, when he sat in the room with Baba, and Baba told him to paint him, that Lyn got a special charge, because that's been in my experience with Lyn's paintings, is that they're alive with Baba's presence. Okay, so the actual form he's painting is, and the formlessness is there, right? Is like being with Baba, all right? And there's some taste of that, like I said, with a Rothko, with a Van Gogh, or with a Monet. There it is again. You know, it's the background foreground distinction is getting dissolved. It didn't jump out. That one's beautiful. There's a beautiful version of it. Lyn liked to paint roses, but just look at the dynamism of that and the color fields. And you really can't say there's any foreground background. It's just like Baba's, and these flowers are like just forming on their own from the. It's like there's primordial colors, like in the beginning, like that quote of Lyn is coming to life in his paintings. Like the original word, the light is divine. Oh, we went backwards. That's okay.
In that previous painting, what parts? Now, the one that this one.
This one, or the one after it?
One after it.
That one.
What parts did Lyn paint, and how do the colors or the interpretation of presenting the colors differ between the two of them?
Are you talking about Phyllis and Lyn?
Yes.
When you say the two, because it's got both their signatures. I'm not sure who painted which. I'm not sure how they did it, whether Phyllis was directing Lyn or they were both painting it. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
But I know, you know, Phyllis's style is also, she's got her figures are more flowing, and I couldn't tell. I don't know from who did what, or how they worked together.
Okay.
But I recognize Lyn's style, particularly. This is Lyn's style. I don't see Phyllis's style here, because I've seen a lot of Phyllis's paintings, and I see Lyn primarily. So,
Okay.
So I don't know what she may have been mixing the paint. Who knows? You know, I don't know. Oh, yeah, I love this painting. I think it's going to segue into my paintings now in a minute after this one. Again, same thing. You know, Baba's immersed in this color field. It's in an inner space. All right, these are mine. Okay, and Baba's stepping out. It's called The Avatar Appears Out of the Blue, which he does when he shows up. He just appears out of the blue. I think this was a kind of a pun on that. He's stepping out of a color field of blue and also dissolving back into it. You know. I'll try to say what I have to say.
You know,
Yeah.
this one and the one just before that,
All right.
I'm looking at the softness in that first one, this one, and it's not just about the imagery being softened, but his eyes are very soft.
Uh-huh.
And then I look at the next one, and it's very, very, his form is blocked, it's squared, it's very angular. And So it makes me wonder, did you paint them far apart in time?
All right, I'll tell you in a
Are
second.
you aware of for me, it's an extreme difference in the way
one?
you,
This one in the form is more,
it's very angular. And when
yeah.
I look at Baba's head, it's almost a straight line across the top. It's
I could
flat.
have painted it the next week. I mean,
Are
I-
you kidding?
no, I don't think I did, but I don't stay to one style. Just whatever emerges. I don't. I'm not. Uh, yeah, I wasn't. Don't feel I have to. I don't get into a style and then keep repeating it. Each one will be different, or how I paint. How I paint Bala.
Huh. It's just, it
But the main idea is that he's in a, regardless of how the straight forehead or it's more angular there, that he's immersed in a inner dimension of light. And it's almost like a glass. This is kind of suggestive of I don't know, a glass wall or something. He's breaking into through some barrier, maybe into this world. Okay. Yeah, I was a little more explicit about that. I am formless. Um, this was at that, like what Lyn was describing, the beginning of creation, this explosion of color, like and Baba's form is kind of just barely emerging out of this explosion of color, and he's coming out of it into the physical, starting to emerge, but he's also fading out into it. So that's what was motivating me through what I was thinking about when I did this painting. I guess I was influenced by Lyn's roses. They're coming out at you. Same thing. This one probably more than any other one. The Baba's skin and that orangey skin, the light, the fire, it's the same as what's around him. So it's all one. There is no foreground, background. Similar.
What did you just say? I'm sorry.
The word similar. This painting's similar.
Yeah.
A little more. This is a little different. Maybe more obvious. Baba's form. I just kept the colors simple. Violet and yellow are complementary colors. They're really studying complementary colors. I only use two colors, violets and yellows, and blended them again and you mix them together, you get grays. So I kept the color, but Baba's skin the skin tone is very similar to what's happening in the wall behind him. So there's that. Oh, not backwards. I guess I wouldn't do that. I'll let them run since you kind of got the idea of what I'm saying. Each one's an experiment, just working on that theme in different ways. I did this one with spray paint and acrylics. Same thing. This is with charcoal and pastel drawing.
So how do you determine, I mean, obviously your subject in all of these is Baba, but how do you determine, or do you, what your interpretation?
just going, how am I going to interpret the
Yeah.
file I'm working from? I often don't plan it ahead of time. Like every something just comes as I start painting, and how I want to do it. It tells me. I'll do. I used to do a sketch first of Baba, and then paint it. But now I'm working differently. That I don't use a sketch ahead of time. I just work with a brush entirely, and model his figure with paint rather than doing say a charcoal drawing ahead of time. So that gives me actually more freedom. But how I do it just emerges as I paint. I don't usually plan it out. Okay. This one I wanted him to be washed in light. The light's coming in through the window. It's washing over his face and his jacket. Similar idea. Most of them all mostly black and white with just a little hint of color. Okay, Mona Lisa. I didn't paint that, but check the background. Let's look at the background. I made the Mona Lisa background. That's for the Baba painting. I don't know why he just had the idea to do that. Yeah, this one, what that says there, the words are, "Oh Paramatma." And, it's an exaggeration of his form, the feet, his foot is real large. And all the splatter of black paint, it's black and white, all the splatter of black paint. To me, I'm thinking of the craziness of the illusion. He's just coming down at this point in his life in the teens, and it's painful for him. And so I was thinking of that he's like trapped in this crazy energy of the gross world, and that there's a distortion that goes on maybe for in him getting here, So I think in paint it's possible to like convey some of these spiritual concepts, like Baba's suffering or coming down, struggling. I just like to paint drip. Same thing here. This, these usually you wouldn't paint these sharp, jagged line like spears, But again, what I'm thinking of is, Baba's trapped in the gross world, trapped in the illusion, and it is painful for him. And even the box here, and that white circle is a symbol of his infinity, and it's I was thinking of Baba writing the missing book in that little tiny box that he's all cramped in. And so there's like the box there, and that was a symbol for him, but also that he's in the gross world, and it's taking on the suffering and getting like spears coming at him. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. So symbolic in that way. So sometimes breaking away the conventional ideas. Oh, let's just paint a happy Baba. I'm also interested in how to convey maybe his pain and suffering. I've had this idea to do. I haven't done it, but I've had an idea for a long time, and maybe I'll do it before I die. Of painting the car accident in Oklahoma, not literally, but definitely there's the car accident, like Baba's version. They painted Jesus on the cross all those centuries, so. But I'm a bit intimidated by it, so I don't know if I'm going to do it. But I've had the idea for a long time. And I went backwards. I jumped too far ahead. All right, I'll stay with that one. That's a Gauguin still life. I took out the central fruit in the middle and I put a frame photo of Baba. I've done a couple of still lifes with Baba. That's one of them.
Can you tell us about this, Joe?
Yeah, let me go back.
I was holding my tongue and not asking questions, and then I realized you don't mind questions in the
I must have been influenced by some very contemporary ways of painting, and I've been looking at some contemporary figures, so and cubism and the whole thing of perspective being totally off. The room's tilted, which is Picasso and Cézanne. They're all like throwing off the perspective. Cézanne's fruit should be rolling off the tabletop of his. So I was thinking that just experimenting and putting Baba into this room that's all the it's like, I don't know, maybe it's another way of saying like he's in this crazy world of illusion. It's a fun house. So
he seems to be in front of a painting. Is that right? Am I
it's a window.
a window? Okay, I thought maybe he was the painter.
Right. He's in front of a window. Yeah, and the alphabet board. Actually, I like this thing. And the way I did it, it's very, very little blending actually. Just blocks of color and looking, and also like the perspective. It's like you're at the ceiling looking down, or up on the wall looking down at him. Maybe like a fly's view of Baba in the room. So the perspectives on you. I was experimenting. Like the previous painting, looking up at Baba, and this one's kind of looking down. Yep. And I do these whimsical pastel crayons. Just make them up as they go. Baba with angels. Uh, Baba discoursing to the masses. People are looking to him.
Love his blue dye.
Just a child on like a birthday celebration, hugging Baba, exaggerated arms. People reaching out to Baba. That's the chair. I'm on the hall. In mind, I wanted to capture the sense that Baba's still in that chair. What's the line? He's still in the chair, and that the chair is vibrating, alive with his presence. And it's also the moment you're starting to kneel down, and put your head on the pillow just as you're going down. So the perspective is just like you're on your knees getting ready to put your head on the pillow. So you're kind of looking up a little bit. Yeah. These are a series of landscapes I've done over the years of the center. That's depicts two canvases. I was in a Monet phase here. That's very Monet. I wanted to the rowboat never gets credit. It was the gondola. I wanted to make the rowboat heroic.
These are beautiful, Joe.
Blue and orange are complementary colors. I was playing with blue and orange, exaggerating. It doesn't look like that. This is one of my favorite landscapes I did. This is the beach. It's an oil. Usually I work in an oil beach to the beach path. This is Portofino. Baba, stayed in Portofino. So it's Portofino Harlem. This is Gator Lake. Most people don't go to. Lagoon Cabin. Acrylics. I must have put it in twice, sorry. Yeah, the gate at Baba's house. Usually you wouldn't want to paint a closed gate. You want to do an open to invite you in. But I thought this was interesting because it's like Baba's light is seeping through the cracks and underneath the gate. And in a way, it's like what happens, how his light and love kind of seeps into our consciousness. We're all blocked off with our gross consciousness and desires, but some of his light's getting through. So I guess it's symbolic in a way. Oh, I'm back where it is. Wait a minute.
I'll buy them all.
Okay. I don't know where they are. They're all gone. They've been sold.
Really?
Gave some to the auction at this Southeast Gathering. They're scattered all over. I should have kept record where everything was.
Yeah. What are we gonna do when the world comes to find out about Joe and we don't know where his painting is?
This is one of my favorites too. And it's let me go back. It's symbolic, like the path. It's the spiritual path. That's what I was thinking. The name of this painting is The Way Home, and that's an oil. The flag tower and I did some Meherabad painting.
Wait, back.
Go back to the Meherabad. That one, the previous one, with the flag.
Yeah. Very interesting. The rails. Is it curved like that, or was that an artistic?
No, it is curved. No, the rail is curved. It's a curved step.
Gives me vertigo looking at it.
Just in terms of color theory, orange and blue, complementary colors, yellow and violet work together. Yellow and blue, orange and blue work really well together. I think I only use 2 colors, and then you mix orange and blue, and you get these darker colors, and a little bit of green, but with blue in it.
Of my fingers, because when you have those finger parts on there, it's easy to make indentations. So this palm is getting more.
I didn't hear that. Was that a comment or a question?
No, that was Marsha's phone.
Okay. Yeah, this is I'm always looking for a unique angle. So I went to do a samadhi painting. And I did take a photo that it kind of crouched behind, those 3 water jars there, right? So, and thinking about composition, you want to lead the eye into, and it could be symbolic. Actually, after I guess how it's kind of symbolic, the gross, the subtle, and mental world, the 7th plane, through the 3 worlds. And this is very impressionistic, just a hint, suggestion of the figures here. Done very loosely. I know who owns this one. What's his name in Tucson? Mark, somebody who owns the restaurants there. He bought it. So it's in Tucson. I wish I knew why they go backwards when you don't want to. Right. Yeah, Lower Meherabad. Those orange roofs jump out at it, screaming orange. Meherabad. Called Meherabad Afternoon. This painting. Another long distance, longer. Yeah. Another Meherabad painting. I did some abstracts of the samadhi. That there's samadhi is the energy of the samadhi is just like flowing down into the earth like a waterfall. This is morning arti, sunrise, the great orange light and the energy of it. Let's just think about the energy of it rather than, and the same thing, evening, this is evening arti. This one. And this is my interpretation of Begin to Begin. I did some of these, very different from a jazzy painting. So the song "And Down by the Shore," an orchestra's playing. Pink, I always think of Divine Love as pink, the ocean of love, and pink's coming out of the clarinets.
Did you, are these cutouts or what? Tell us.
No, they're paintings. They're acrylic paintings. I just made it up. Yeah. But it's very different for me. So there's this one, there's three of them. Another jazz. There Will Never Be Another You, Bala, and Tenderly.
Joe, your styles or your presentations are very different. Do you just are you comfortably flowing from different presentations and representations? I'm intrigued with how different.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I think I should have a consistent style, but I don't. I love color. I always think of just different ways of expressing myself and not staying with one style or any period of time. And I'll be influenced by work I see of other people, something I really like. And so that happens. I'm a sponge. I'm absorbing. And I've seen jazzy works, and I think I want to do that. I want to do something like that, and I just make it up on my own. I'll go for I'll find clip art images online, like of this person, of a drummer, and the guitar. I exaggerated, I made it bigger, but it'll be a combination of influences that I'll all pull together into one painting. This one's sold. I like this painting. I really like this one. Someone was gonna make there was a jazz restaurant in town. They really loved this one, and they were gonna hire me to make it a big mural. They were having an area in the back, and I was all set to do it, and they went out of business today.
They changed their mind?
No, they went out of business.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, too bad. So it would have been the back courtyard, the dining area, drinking area, and live music, and this would have been on the big cement wall. This painting.
Huh. Which place?
I forget the name of the club. It was right downtown Myrtle Beach. It was a really good jazz club. I was around for a year or so. What do you think of this painting? Any comments?
I love it. I love the roundness. I love the exaggeration of the instruments. I like the complementary coloration of it. I just think it's the stars in the sky and the moon. For me, it's very playful. I can almost hear the music because it makes me feel the music, the coloration, the shape.
Yeah, music. Color is often related to music.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one way of painting it. I think my sense of color is my strong point as a painter, and I guess I made it better at design. So to put together these colors and make them work, I'm happy with this.
Marcia wants to ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marcia.
I like it a lot. I like the colors. It also reminds me of a Matisse, kind of.
Yeah, I've been influenced by it, for sure.
Me too.
Yeah,
beautiful.
There's definitely components in that. So
yeah, I really like your work. It's very beautiful.
The mixing, like organic. Yeah, Matisse did this. His paper cutouts.
Yeah, that's
where I got the influence of this, the Matisse's paper cutouts. And I've done a few. I've done a whole series of paper cutouts based on, inspired by Matisse's paper cut. I've been looking at them, and I thought I wanted to bring those organic forms that he did in his paper cutouts. Yeah, sure. That's really. So, hey, it's like that's the advantage I think of being studying art and looking at what the great masters have done with color, and so they get jumbled in there in my unconscious and come out in various ways. Yeah.
This is in acrylic?
Yes, this is acrylic.
And what is the title of this one?
Tenderly. I just named them after well-known jazz song, Tenderly. What's hard doing this is like to get a really completely even tone, like that was blue and the violet. You know how many times I would have to go over it because when it dried, there'd be like a little streak in the sun. I wanted it to be solid color, I must have gone over all this dozens of times to get it. Everything having a solid color, no variation within each of these areas. And then each time I did it, I have to work real small in between these things. So it's not like I just laid down the color once or twice and got it. It's a lot of work to get it.
Which is totally the opposite of what you're doing with your other paintings.
Yeah.
Everything bleeding into each other.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like the flowing lines as well as the static structured lines, the horizontal. I like combining the colors in a single individual. It's just very, very, it's full of life to me.
Yeah, and that's jazz. I like listening to jazz when I paint too, because when I paint and when I have that similar.
So Joe, could you say more about how you use clip art?
Oh yeah, like this figure here, I just got off the internet. It was a clip art. I exaggerated a little bit. I'll just go on to Google, clip jazz images, jazz singers, and I'll find something. And so these two figures I made up, but this figure here, I pretty much stole. It's a clip art. I changed their figure a little bit, but I added some of my own colors. So yeah, I'll just pull some clip art off the internet from Google and then combine them in a way.
Yeah, I love these flowing forms, and I'm just looking at the hard edges that you achieved here. How do you achieve that hard edge?
Well, the classic way is to use masking tape, but I didn't. I just run my paintbrush, flat paintbrush along it.
You have to wait for one color to dry before doing the other.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm pretty good at that. I follow just get a flat brush, half-inch brush, and just run it down line. But like I said, the hard thing is getting this completely even flat color. And
Joe, do you have a sketch ahead of time for something like this?
I sketch an idea generally, but then this one I will. Yeah, these are sketched onto the canvas. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm also thinking about complementary colors and the arrangement of them. I know, like blue and orange are complementary, red and green are complementary, yellow and violet. So there's really 3 pairs of complementary colors that I'm working with.
Marcia, did you have another question, or is your hand, did I just not lower your hand yet from your last? You're muted. Let me unmute you.
In the beginning, I like this one too. I made all the figures smaller than the other ones.
I'm not raising my hand now.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
It has a flow, this central sand-colored flat paint area pulls you in towards the couple dancing. And down by the shore, the palm trees are swaying. you know, so there's a
Mhm.
sense of everything is swaying, everything's moving. There's a romantic, you know, kind of romantic feeling. Yeah, maybe like you've had a few drinks. I don't know. So yeah, music. But if you're painting something that's jazz or has that, so how do you paint the feeling of this of the song of the beginning? That's what I was thinking. How do I paint the feeling of it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love these, Joe. They're the colors are spectacular. Just really draws you in.
Okay. Black's interesting to use when that, you know, sparingly from.
At some point, you will have to stop because the clay is too wet. It cannot white.
Or something, someone's talking about clay there. Okay. How are we doing for time? We're past 8 o'clock. What should we do?
Well,
I'll pick
a
out
lot more to go through.
No, I'm done this, but can I share one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, this is let me get online here. When I die and look back on my life, one of the things I'll be most proud of is doing the 2012 birthday play at Meherabad. I was living there, and I had written this play. I adapted a novel by anyone over here of Chitra Diva Karuni, the novelist? Anybody familiar with her? There she is. Can you still see we're still on share screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's her. She's an Indian novelist and a best-selling international novelist. She lives and teaches and writes in Houston. But she wrote a novel called Palace of Illusions, and it's the Mahabharata told through the voice of Queen Draupadi, and it's kind of a woman's perspective on that whole Mahabharata, but particularly the Bhagavad Gita period. So I adapted it for the stage, and then we wrote to her and told her what we were doing, and she was real enthusiastic, and we sent her photographs of the performance. So, and she features them on her website, which is really cool. So, and she has a slideshow. So I was involved in, you know, writing, directing it, and creating the sets with another artist there. Yeah, I'm looking at vivid colors, strong use of colors, like creating these visual images that are striking.
Draupadi was fabulous.
Yes, freshly saw it. And that's Krishna was in it. That's Krishna. That's Queen Draupadi. We'll run through them again. This is the beginning when I have demons. There's Krishna. That's Queen Draupadi. It's her life. She's a teenager. That's a story. That's a scene where she gets her sari. They're trying to rip off her sari, and Krishna performs a miracle and drops, and it's never ending. The sari. So we dropped it from this sky. That's after the battle. The grieving widows, and then they go off into the Himalayas at the very end, and they die. She dies on an ice cliff in the Himalayas. Yeah, so that's it. But that's like bringing I guess painting sensibilities to the theater, which I like doing. So. All right, yay! Thank you for listening and watching. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I'd just like to say it's amazing to see the range of your artistic expression. And are you still playing the guitar?
Yeah, I can start playing it. Yeah, I probably practice nowadays. That's my chief ambition was to be a classical guitarist, and that's my least developed artistic skill.
I think you were pretty good.
Wow, not by real standards. Isn't that funny? I became a a painter and a playwright by default because I'm a failed classical guitarist. That's pretty cool. But I love the guitar. But I just I get some, like public speaking comes natural to me. I could put me in front of 1,000 people and I'm fine. I don't get nervous. But if I have to play the guitar for 2 people, I get really, my fingers, nonverbal, my fingers tremble. It's really, I don't understand it. Yeah, why that happens. No one's ever criticized me as a child, but it's just fear. The only way I can perform for people or play is to take a low dose innate anxiety drug. It stops the trembling. But, oh, well. Yeah, and everyone, Jill and I go way back. We were neighbors in the 70s. I lived in Wilmington, and Jill is from Wilmington, and so we're all friends. So it's really cool seeing her here today in class and other classes we've been in. And you were doing various kinds of art.
I was doing ceramics.
Ceramics, that's right. Yeah, do you still do them?
No, because it takes too much time. That's why I'm trying to learn to play with color and line and form and shape.
Okay.
And, that just patterns and things like that, because I need some kind of expression, but getting to a pottery studio is a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. So
Look
what do you do?
at Marcia. She's hands deep
There you are.
pottery.
Yeah, right.
That's great.
All right, here's one last painting. Myrtle Beach recently had a contest for Myrtle Beach had a contest. They wanted artwork related to COVID-19 safety, bicycling, and pedestrianism.
Oh, wow.
and Myrtle Beach. COVID-19 safety, bicycling, pedestrianism, and Myrtle Beach. And the winners, there was going to be like 6 or 7 winners, and they were going to take images and put them on various intersections around Myrtle Beach. So I was one of the winners. And here's what I came up with. And again, I used clip art and I just put it all together. So this painting was one of the winners, and it's actually on a box. That one.
Wow.
This one. So there you go. Bicycling, COVID safety, they're wearing masks, pedestrianism, jogging in Myrtle Beach.
Wow.
And what they did, they put on a big electrical box at the intersection right across from Myrtle Beach State Park as you drive into a shopping center across the street. So people see it, but it's not exactly a Louvre, it's on 3 sides of this electrical box.
I just drove
That's
past
cool.
that the other day.
Really? Did you know? You didn't know it was mine?
Yeah, because,
yeah.
you posted it a couple times.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I just talk about the style of this. I'm using blocks of color for the dunes area. I'm not painting literally thinking about painting shrubs. I know they're shrubs, but I'm just reducing them to blocks of color. I want them to be the thing, and just and putting lots of color that you wouldn't necessarily see in the figures, like red on her belly and burgundy on her shorts and all over. Just that it's just blocks of color that are assembled to work together in kind of an impressionist way. So it's yeah, I think it works.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Amy. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think we all do. It was a lot of fun. It was very light and great.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. All right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it the second time even more.
Wow.
And lots of beautiful images of Baba.
Mhm.
Your work of Baba is very powerful, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, Fareshta, I think you brought up a great point, and that is that often when we are visually exploring art, your eyes are so busy taking it all in that it's not always absorbed until you see it, sometimes 2, 3 times. There's so much impacting you with your eyes that it takes time to be able to truly feel what's happening with it.
Oh, definitely. I have taken many a trip to the same museum, same painting, same floors, you know, and spent time. So,
Yeah, I agree. I will sometimes go to a particular gallery 3 and 4 times, not only to have the overall
Yeah.
view, but also then to be able to spend time with specific paintings or drawings or whatever.
yes.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, probably should have, I mean.
Well, thank you everyone for coming.
For 20 minutes, you know, and really soak it in, which means not doing like 100 in a day. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thank everybody. It was fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. All right. Jai Baba, everybody.
Baba.
Look forward
Jai
to seeing
Baba.
everybody next month. Jai Baba.
Okay.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.